Neethu, you can start.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Jitin. Hi all. Warm good evening to you all. Hope you are all doing good. So I'm here to conduct a session on the topic ReactJS, basic concepts, components, and hooks. So yeah, the contents I'm going to cover is what is React, why React, virtual DOM, fundamentals of React, ReactJS environment setup, and I will show a sample demo of a to-do application. Okay, so okay, many of you will have a question in your mind that what is React? Like, React is a programming language framework. What it is? So actually, React is a library that mostly used in web development, especially for front end purposes. React is actually developed and currently maintained by Facebook. So it is primarily used for building user interfaces. So your developers can use React to build large web projects and so on. And mainly the main core benefit of React is used for developing single page applications. So what is single page application? A single page application is a web implementation or web app implementation that loads only a single web document and updates the body content of that single document via APIs. Simply, we can say like it dynamically rewrites an existing web page with new information from the web server. We don't need to dynamically keep on render the web page multiple times. Whenever a data update or a trigger comes from the web server, only we need to update that particular web page. So that is the key point which makes React different from other frameworks. So we can say React uses single page application. And also one key peculiarity is that it is used to create a reusable UI components. We are using reusable components for building React. And also by using benefits with these benefits, we can say like React is easy to manage and we can update complex user interfaces easily with React. Okay, then a question will come, why React? As I already said, there are benefits for React. It is easy to use, seamless updates, like we can make easy renders using React. We have developer tools. We can use easy developer tools for making React. It is open source and also reusable components. As I already told, we can use multiple components and reuse it in many places all over the project. And one other key feature is virtual DOM. Virtual DOM is the most important or key feature which is making React different from other front-end frameworks. So coming into what is virtual DOM. So before going to what is virtual DOM, I'm sharing a pic of what is a DOM structure. So this is the DOM structure of a uh, basic framework. That is, this is a DOM structure where document has HTML, body, elements, and so on. What real DOM does is, once a trigger or action is initiated from a user, the whole DOM renders and the application is loaded. This is what a real DOM works. But what does React does is, instead of loading the entire DOM, it generates a virtual representation of the DOM in the memory. And this is called virtual DOM. And when a component state or prop change or a user triggers a change or a button click or anything, any action is triggered, instead of directly updating the real DOM, React update the virtual DOM. That is virtual DOM. Once the virtual DOM is updated, it will check. We have already taken a copy of the virtual DOM with us, and the React will compare the virtual DOM with the new copy of our DOM. And by this way, the loading time will be less, and we will be able to load the minimal changes only. We will not be required to load the entire DOM once again, like what real DOM does. So this makes React different from other frameworks. So here we can see it is a lightweight copy of actual DOM, and when a component state changes, React will compare the new virtual DOM with the previous virtual DOM, and it will determine the minimal set of changes needed to update the actual DOM. Instead of rendering the whole DOM, it will only render the changes, compare the changes, and render that particular changes to the UI. So this will surely improve the performance of the application. So we can blindly say that this is the key peculiarity of React. the use of virtual DOM. So that's about the peculiarities of React and why React. Coming into websites using ReactJS. Yeah, all of us you will be familiar. Day to day life itself, we are using Netflix, uh, Facebook, Twitter, Uber Eats, OkCupid, PayPal. All these websites are using ReactJS for their UI development. So that's also mentioned here. Okay, coming into fundamentals of React. So we have some key elements which we require to know before learning or before stepping into coding of React. So they are the JSX, state, props, components, and hooks. So getting into each of the JSX. So how we are coding in React, or what syntax extension we are using in React. So that will be a question for many of you. So we are using JavaScript XML, which is a combination of JavaScript and HTML, and that is called JSX. Using JSX, we can easily create templates, HTML templates. So we can say like we are using HTML templates for building React application. I have given a piece of code here. This is just a code that we are importing React DOM, and we have an element where I'm using an HTML tag. I love JSX. And in the root element, I'm just rendering the React DOM using that create root with that ID of root. Actually, we may not be clear when we going into the coming videos or coming into the demo. We will more deeply understand this code. As of now, we are just rendering this element using this root. So this is a basic code for syntax code for and props. State and props seems to state can be defined as state is nothing but it can be defined as an object. Like simply we can define it as an object that store data. It's an object that stores data and that can be changed within the component. When compared to some other programming language, for example, we can say it is similar to variable. In other programming languages, we have variable to store data. Like we are saying const or where data equal to we will store some values on that. Same way state is also working. It is just an object that store data in the React component. If we want to store a set of data or store a value in a particular variable, that variable is called the state of that particular component. And the only difference is that when the state of that component is changing, the React will re-render the component and its children. A minute change to the state variable is happening, the component will be re-rendered. And also they are mutable. We can update the value, we can change the value, we can update the value using hooks and all the state. So we can say these are the key basic understanding we require for a state definition. Coming into props. Okay, what makes state and props differ? Props is something that we pass from parent component to child component. State is something we handle or owned by the parent component only. That is, the scope of the state is only in one component. I already told that React is using multiple components. So, this state we can use only in that particular component. Like we can't use it in the other components or share it with other components. It's owned by the parent component only. And it's mutable also that we can change the value. But coming to props, props can be passed from a parent component to child component. If I need to pass a data from a parent to a child, I can use props. But they are immutable. As I already told, props are owned by or the state owned by the parent component. When we like what we can say, when we pass the data to the child component, it can't be changed. It is immutable. We can't update the value from the child component. Once we shared the state value or the prop value to the child, we can't update it. So they are immutable. So these are the key differences between state and a props in React. Here I have given some differences between props and state that I have already said. Props are immutable, has better performance and can be passed to the child components. While state is owned by its component, it is locally scoped, it is writable and mutable. We can change the values and we can update the values. We can update the values using hooks, React hooks. which will be getting to know in the next slide. Changes to state can be asynchronous and also can only be passed as props. That is, state we can only pass to child components as props only. We can directly pass states to the other child components. So these are the key differences between state and props. Okay, components. In React, we mainly use two types of components. First one is class components and the other one is functional components. Class components can be referred as stateful components. Okay, from the name itself, we can get to know like stateful. It has state. Because yeah, that's a definition also because they have their own local state. And also they were initially using before the introduction of functional components, we were switching fully on. We are sticking fully on to class components. But now once the hooks are introduced in the React 16.8 version, class components were the primary way to manage the state in React application. After the introduction of hooks, everybody completely switched into functional components. So currently we are mainly focusing on functional components only. So coming into functional components, it was referred to as stateless component because it doesn't have state. It doesn't have their own internal state. But as I already said, after the introduction of hooks in React 16.8, states can be handled in functional components. Like we was able to update states using hooks. So then why we need class components? Like we can handle state handling in functional components. So why we need to use class components? So currently everybody is using mainly functional components for developing applications. We have told about states can be handled with hooks. So a question will come. What is hooks? Okay, before going to what is hooks, like this is just a diagrammatic representation of syntax of both class component and functional component. Here we are in class component, we are exporting class, extending class component and just returning an HTML element. Same way in functional component also, we are importing React and we are returning a function, export default app, we are returning a function. So this is the just to understand, I just attached a figure. You can look at it. Okay, I had already told in our functional components, we can update or we can use hooks. State handling was achieved through hooks. So what are hooks? So React hooks are the key feature of React. Hooks are just functions used to give functional components an access to use and update the states without writing a class. Like I have already said, state. We have a state in React. So that is just like acting as a variable. So if we want to store a value in a variable, that only that statement to be. But we need to update it, right? Like if I need to update that state value to another value, we need to update or we need a function for that. So that is what hooks is referred to. They are just functions for updating a value. If a user clicks on a button or something, if we want to update that value, we will use hooks. The major hook we use for updating is useState. There are many other hooks, but commonly used hooks are useState, useEffect, useContext, useRef, useMemo, useReducer, etc. And also, we have rules. We have certain many rules for using hooks. We can't simply use hooks in our React project. We have certain rules. First rule is that hooks can only be used inside a React function components. We can't use hooks inside a class component. It is only meant to functional component. So first rule is that hooks can only be used inside a React functional components. And also hooks can only be called at the top level of a component. We can't declare it in middle of the code or anything. It should be declared at the top level of the component, and it cannot be conditionally rendered. It cannot be conditional. So these are the three main rules of for hooks we have to keep in mind before getting into React. Okay, I think we have gone through the basic idea of how basic key fundamentals of React. Now I think we can get into an environment setup. So to start React coding, how can we set up an environment? First thing is like we need to install a code editor. Usually we are using Visual Studio for coding. And the second thing is like some packages are required. So make sure that packages installed in your machine. That is, first one is Node version greater than 14. Now currently we are using 18. 14 greater than 14, we can use any of it. We have to install npm, that is not package modules greater than 5.6. These two basic packages are required for our React Pro application to be run. So these two are the main things to be installed. And after that, creating a React project. We have to run the command npx create react app my app. My app is nothing but the app name. You can give whatever name you require. Now I have given my app. Okay. Create react app my app. Then after running this, we will get the basic boilerplate code basis being formed or files have been created. After that, we have to navigate to the my app, that is navigate to the app, and we have to run the npm install. Actually, we have already installed the node modules, installed the node. Now we have to use that node inside our project. So for that, we are running the npm install. It will take a few minutes. After that, all the node package modules will be installed, which is mandatorily required for our project to run, because it has a lot of libraries, packages which are required for our development. Okay, now we are ready and now our application is ready and we can run the application using npm start. So the running command for a React application is npm start, doc package module start. That we are going to, we have now ready to start the application, React application. So this is a basic environment setup. Now we are ready. So now I will just show a demo of a simple to-do app in React. Okay. Okay, so I have told that we have created the app using npx create react app, and my app's name is to do app, so I have named it to do app. So a app is created here over here, and I will go to this app, inside this app. So cd to do app, I have this much files created. As I already told, this is a node modules, which includes a lot of packages and libraries which are required for our project to run. That is created. We have a public folder over here. This is also auto-generated in the index.html. We have this much code. This all are auto-generated. This is the title of our app. And I have already told, if you remember, like we have a JXS and I told we have an ID. And this is that ID. Based on this ID, we are rendering the whole DOM. This ID root we are appending to the DOM, React DOM, and based on this ID, our whole project or our whole DOM is rendering in the React project. That I will show later. So this is the structure for public folder. And we have a source folder where all our code logics and everything is being implemented here. Then I have gtgnol, package lock.json and package.json. So package.lock.json is the file where all the node modules, their versions, and all the details of the installed nodes are available here. So these all are auto-generated. And we have a package.json. Here also we will have all the like development, browser list, production, all. For big projects we have to make changes here, like a script, what all commands we have to add for running a project, building time, testing, eject, everything is being defined in the package.json. These two are one of the main important files in React. Now coming into source file. So this is the place where we are going to make our work. Like we have an index.js file. So I have already told we have an index.html file over here. Here we have an ID root, and based on this ID, getting this ID, we are rendering our React DOM. With getting that ID, we are rendering it and we are storing it in the variable root, and we are rendering that root inside our, and we are wrapping that our project inside this root folder. So this way, other DOM rendering is happening in React. Like inside the strict mode is nothing but a debugging tool just to protect our application with from bugs or something like malicious thing. We are just wrapping it inside the react strict mode. It is nothing but a debugging tool. So inside the in the root we are rendering our app. So this is the place where we are calling our app. App is nothing but When we click it, we can see here app.js. App.js is a file where all the logic we are going to start implement. So this much is auto generated till this. He inside this, what I have done is that I have created a component. So I have already told we have component like structure in React. So this is the component folder, and inside that I have created my files, like what are files I require I created for to do. So from here, this app I am calling this my component, that is to do list. So this is my components. Before that, I will just show you how our component looks like. So this is what our component looks like. I have created a component. This is a basic component where we are going to add a to do. Okay, I'm going to learn React today. Okay, and I'm adding it. Okay, I have added it. Okay, I have learned React. Okay, just I'm making, okay, you can strike over that. Okay, I have learned it. I have completed it. Then I'm going to learn React hooks. I'm also adding that. I'm completed that also. I'm going to delete it. I'm going to delete it also. This is a simple application. This is a basic to-do application. So how it is implemented. So here we can see this is the main page where all the logics are implemented. Create cons to-do list. So coming into the structure, we can see the top level we are just importing React, importing use state, all CSS file required, and so on. And we have a const function. Inside this function, all the logics are written, and we are export default. We are exporting the to-do list. So inside the const function, we have two sections basically. We will have a return and we have a logic section over here. The thing is like in the return function, we are returning the HTML elements. Just what all things we are seeing in the UI, we are getting it from this return. The UI logic is being employed. UI is returning in this return element, and the logics, all the functionalities, all the logics we are implementing in the top portion. So this is the two sections we are using in React. So coming into return, so we will start with UI itself. We will have a div. Inside that div, I have created H1 tag. You have already seen it in the UI. We have get things done. Inside that, we have a to do form. I have a input. Okay, coming into this one, like I have an input right here. I have already written and I have learned React. This is my input. So when I entering this input will trigger, and I need a state. There, this is the place where the state comes. I have already told I want a state to hold that value. So this is the place where we are setting the state. Before that, we need to define or we need to make initialize that state. This is where we are doing that. I need a particular state value to hold my entered value. What the user enters, I want to hold that value in a particular state. So this is the place where we are initializing it. This is the first thing we have to do while we are starting with the React project. This is a new to do, const new to do and set new to do. The new to do is the state and set new to do is the function which is going to handle this state. So we can update this new to do value with the set new to do value and initializing it using useState. UseState is a hook, React hook, which is imported from React, initializing it with empty string. This is the type we are giving. If we are initializing it with array, we need to provide array. So similarly here it is string. So I am initializing it with string and I am declaring it here over here. I have declared it. So new to do is the value which is going to hold the input text. And on change of that event, I am going to set it. I am going to set it with the value the user have entered. So currently in the new to do, I have the value of what the user have entered. So this is a basic thing. And after that, once a user add, once the user click on the add to do, what it happens is like it will check if it is empty or not. And after that, it will set the to do inside a array. So that's why I have already said once a user enters a value, it is stored in the new to do. And once user will enters multiple values, so it should be stored in an array. We have an array set of values. So we have initialized an array also. That is to do set to do. This is the array. The to do is the state for array and set to do is the function for handling that array. So once a user have added that to do, we will check the condition and we will set that inside that array. We are going to add the to do This is a spread operators used for keeping the previous value. What all data user entered previously, all the data will be taken along with the new data. For that, we are using the spread operators. Along with the ID should be a unique ID should be there for each arrays. I am currently using a date and the text. The text is nothing but the value user has entered and completed. This is nothing but for editing purpose we are using this completed. We can use it without that also. It's fine. So inside the to do array, I'm going to add this data into the array, and then I'm making it empty because this is the first set. And after that, when once the user add the to do, it should be clear that the initial value should be cleared. So this is the logic which is happening in the add to do. So what is happening is that inside the set to do, the first array is already being stored and user added it. Second time also user will add the second input. Same way it will come over here and again it will be added to the this array, new to do array. And the new to do array is now sorry, no to do, sorry for mistake. To do is the array for handling the data. Now to do array has all the data the user has entered. Then what we will do, this portion. So now we have added, now we have to list it. For listing it, what we have to do is like, I have created a UL, that is a list am making, and in the list I am going to map the to do. The to do list already have the array list, and the array list I am going to map the data completely. And now after this mapping, I'm setting a key ID. And here what I'm doing is like, I'm just using class, I'm just striking that if it is completed, I'm just striking it. And if it is not completed, I'm just making it not strike, like I will make it clear. When I click on it, it is going to strike. Like this is working based on the completed false. Based on this key, this thing is working. Based on a class name, I'm making it working. And here to-do.txt is being displayed, and this is on toggle complete. This on clicking the toggle complete, the striking of thing is happening. So this is the basic working of listing of to do. So this will map and all the listing will happen. Also coming the next, delete. We have a delete button over here. So delete to do. On clicking the delete to do, what it happens? An updated to do, a variable is created with updated to do. In that, we will filter out the to do based on the ID. The ID we have clicked. Already the to do array have all the list of data the user has entered. And what we will do is like, we will just filter it with the ID we have clicked. With the ID which is not present in the, filter out the ID which we have clicked. So which is not equal. So what it happen is that it will filter out the array, filter out the ID which we have clicked. And based on this, the updated to do will be stored in the set to do. And again, the set to do is rendering. This state is updated again to do this state. Once we call the set to do function, React state renders, and to do will the to do value will be updated with a new set of value. With the deleted value, it will be updated, and again it will list the updated value. So this is what the basic uh, concept of rendering React. This is just a to-do application, and in order to make you guys clear how what props is, I have already told props. This is a sample thing I have done. Like this is a sample application, sorry, sample component where I have created to do not. So this is a new component. I have told that we have props, we have state, which have a scope only in this component. We have to do, all these are state that only we can use in this component. But I need this to do data to the child component. So I have created to do not. It's a child component, and I have sent this to do data as prop. So this is the way how we are passing props in React. We will store the prop value inside a state value inside a other value variable, and we will send it through this component. And when once we come here, we can see here. Here. I am just mapping it. I'm just displaying it just to make you guys understand. I'm getting this to do data from the parameter, from the argument. I'm getting it, and I am just mapping it. When I'm going here, I can see the child component is rendering here. Whenever I am adding a data, it will it will list like this. So this is the rendering from child component because I have get this data from this, to do data. So this is the way we are passing props in React state, which can be used in the child component. But the only thing is like I can't update the value if the, I can't update this to do data by from here, this to do item. It can only be updated from the parent only. So that is the only like we can drawback of using props. So I think this is a basic structure of React application, and that which is covering states. Sorry, okay, which is covering states, states, props, components, hooks, everything. This is the basic thing. I think that's all about the demo application. I think okay. I think that's all from the basics of React. Now, any questions?
No
Nothing yet.
questions from anyone? Wow, everyone understood very well. Neither that was great. No one has any doubts, right?
Neither one question. You said like we can initiate the state using the method, right? Do we need to write any definition for that, or it is predefined for setting a state value? You
Can you
mentioned,
repeat once more? Like, I
yeah.
didn't get the question.
You said setting a state required a state variable and a method to set the state, right?
Yeah, that is a function. Yeah.
Yeah, that function definition required. We need to add that definition, or it is predefined.
Actually, in the function definition here means like, I think Jin is asking about this one, right? This one,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Yeah, actually, this is a state, this is a function. Inside this function, we are updating this value. So this is the function definition we can say, like not properly, but we can say this is the definition. Here we are updating the value. Whatever things we are updating over here, this will be initiated and will be updated in this variable, in this state.
I think Jane is asking about that set it to do function.
Correct, correct.
That actually we don't need to define. So it will be handled by the state itself.
So whatever parameter we pass, it will set to the state value. Is
Yeah,
that
it will work.
Yeah.
Yes.
okay?
I have also a question. What's the benefits of using virtual DOM? Is more faster than using normal native DOMs? What's the use of my question is what's the use of virtual DOM? Benefits of virtual DOM.
Yeah, actually, virtual DOM is the concept which makes you react more faster. Like thing is like in the normal DOM structure, the like loading time is more. Like real DOM, what real DOM does is like when once an action is triggered from a user, the whole DOM re-render and application is loaded from the base. Like if a slide button click or just a button click is from triggered from the user side, it will re-render the whole component again. But what React does is like instead of loading the entire DOM, it will create a virtual representation of DOM in the memory. That is called the virtual DOM. And we will have a copy of the DOM with us. And once again, when user triggers a click or anything, it will again compares it with. Now the updated DOM is with us. The updated change is with us. So it will check the DOM with the initial DOM we have taken with us, the copy, and the current DOM we have clicked after the user clicked. And this will be compared. And after comparison, only the changes will be reflected. Instead of loading the whole, in other cases or in other frameworks, we have completely the DOM is rendering. But here only that changes after the comparison. This is called diffing. Like it will check the differences and only the required changes or the minimal set of changes happened between in the comparing both DOMs, that will only be reflected to the UI. So the whole DOM should not will not be re-rendered. So this will surely, for sure, it will improve the performance of React.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
No other question? We can wind up.
Okay. Thank you, Techbench team, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Neethu, for the wonderful session. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was a nice session, Neethu.